everybody. Welcome back. And we're just jumping on for a few minutes today to talk about some of the basic baseline things I talk about when I first meet a patient. So, anytime I meet a new individual that's coming to seek therapy, right? Individual therapy most of the time, for whatever reason they're coming, okay? So, keep in mind that this could be a mom, this could be a dad, this could be a friend, a child, anybody, right? Probably aim over the age of 6 or 7 just for the sake of this specific scale. I use what I call a baseline check. Everybody has to have a baseline to be able to have enough capacity to do things, to grow, to learn, to heal. Okay. So when I first meet a person, I go through a baseline that I've sort of taken from different places and collaborated into a little bit of an acronym called SELFO. Okay. So self, but I threw an O on there because I really needed it. Okay. So think of selfie, but SELFO. Yeah. All right. Anyways, self-O is something that I go over with every human I meet in my private practice, every single one. And I start with this. Self-O stands for sleep, exercise, laughter, food, outside. And what I aim to do is when I first meet someone, I want to see, do they do these activities every day? So we go through the list, okay? S is for sleep. Are you sleeping, depending on your age, right? 6 to 8 to 10 hours a night with uninterrupted sleep. Well, that probably makes you laugh right now thinking about it, because most of us, especially as adults, whether we have young children or are going into other stages of life, probably have interrupted sleep and probably have a hard time going to sleep. So sleep is always the first one we go over. Okay. So let's just say, for the sake of this baseline check, somebody goes, I might get 2 nights of solid 6 to 8 hours of sleep. So I know right there, okay, sleep is a baseline factor we need to work on. Okay. So then we go to E. E is for exercise. Okay. I would love it, right? If you're like crossfitting, you're doing Ironman competitions every day, like that's great. That's a rarity. Somebody's like, yeah, every day I'm committed. Sometimes it is. I'm not even looking for that. I'm looking for movement outside of the norm. Okay. So the norm being, I always give this example. If you're a server or a bartender and you are on your feet for your shift the whole time, you're moving nonstop, right? You're moving, grooving, slinging drinks, slinging food. That doesn't actually count in the additional movement. So I'm looking at 15 to 20 minutes, just 15 to 20 minutes a day of movement outside the norm. Okay. So again, I use the server thing. That doesn't count because you are moving hours, but I'm looking for your extra. Okay. L is for laughter. Are you belly laughing every day? And I will be honest with you, majority of the patients I get, that is a solid no. If they have laughter, it's from a YouTube like stand-up comedian or something like that. And there might be like a side laughter, but a gut laughter, or where you feel your face lift, right? And you laugh enough to just pump the endorphins through your body. Is that happening every day? That's usually one we work on, okay? F is for food. I'm not necessarily here to say, here's what you eat, what you don't eat. I mean, obviously, there are some foods that feed our body more nutrition and things, and foods that don't. But I'm actually looking, are you eating enough? Okay. And then, yes, are you eating enough of the right foods? We want colorful foods. Now, I'm not a nutritionist. I can't really go and tell you this is exactly what you need. But I do know that our serotonin, right, which is our happy hormone, is created in our gut. So if we're feeding our stomach junk all the time, or not enough food, we don't have the serotonin to pump our system. We don't have the energy, right, to meet our baseline, to then do things to better ourselves in mental health therapy, etc. Okay, so food's always a big one. A lot of times with the mamas I see, food, we don't eat enough, right? We're taking bites, feeding 15 other people, including our partners at the same time. And food is a big one. The O is why I added it to self, okay? O is huge. And in 2024, O is so rarely met, it's actually disturbing. But O is for outside. Do you go outside 15 to 20 minutes a day? Not counting walking to your car to get to work or walking the kids to the bus stop. Do you intentionally go spend time outside? And I cannot tell you, this isn't a real statistic I'm about to throw out there, but I would say like 90% of my clients, right? And 90% of even my friends and people I see that I talk to go outside 15, 20 minutes, maybe 2 days a week. Okay. So I want us to take that into perspective, that we're not even getting fresh air, right? Outside movement, sunshine, which is a natural vitamin D booster, which also boosts mood. Birds singing in our ears, normal white noise, no screen. We're not getting any of that. And so outside, right, is a huge one I focus on. Those are the 5 baselines. And when I first meet someone, it's not magic that happens in therapy the first couple times, right? I want you to start to be able to check off majority of those self-o items daily, okay? Now, if you truly think about it, if you are getting adequate sleep or attempting, right, turning your phone off an hour before bed, doing the things so that you can rest your brain and body and go to sleep, if you are moving more than your norm, 15 to 20 minutes a day, if you are laughing and pumping those endorphins, if you are feeding yourself the food and water you need to have energy, and you are going outside, you are automatically, right, going to come back maybe second, third, fourth session, and you're going to feel better. You're already going to feel different because you're treating your body and the chemicals that keep us going in your body differently. So I say this as a little like tidbit for everybody. We can all have a baseline for whatever reason, especially when COVID hit. We all had to, not for whatever reason I should say, we all had to sort of stay in place, lock down in place, right? A lot of us went remote. I went completely telehealth, right? So I spend all day staring at a screen in a HIPAA safe area. So I can't be outside at the park on session with my clients, right? That's not HIPAA appropriate. So many of us are behind a screen with maybe one little window in the office, maybe no window at all, right? Now I know we can't necessarily move our 5 screens outside and set up this perfect outside office. I get that that's not the world we in. I get that I have to have my cell phone close to me in case my child's school calls or my spouse needs something, right? I get all these things. But we have gone so far from being able to nurture the baseline of ourselves. Why don't we slow down for a second, take a step back, and find our baseline? So I encourage you to write down self-o, sleep, exercise, laughter, food, outside. And I encourage you to attempt to meet those every day. Don't start all 5 today. If you need to work on all 5, start with 1, right? Give yourself grace. We've been slowly over time working away from our baseline. We need to give our body and our mind grace to slowly work back towards our baseline. I do it with my family. Are we perfect at it? Absolutely not. We have to fight it a little bit. It does make uncomfortableness happen, right? We don't always want to go sit outside or go pull weeds or go play with the kids. Maybe we're too tired. They want to go outside and ride their bikes around, but it's been a long day where you've been stuck in your office dealing with people that maybe you didn't want to deal with, right? And now the kids are home and it's just hard to go out and be with them. So start with one thing, okay? And the last thing I will say, and I will go over these more through time, but the last thing I'll say, when you do that one thing or that two things or 3 things, whatever of self-o you begin to check off, I want you to pause before you go to bed that night and you say, I am proud of myself because I did this, right? I am proud of myself. I went outside when I was exhausted and spent time with my kids running around. I not only checked off outside, I checked off exercise for movement, and I didn't even throw in the attachment part with our children. That's a whole nother acronym, right? So make sure you're doing the baseline and then you're praising your brain for the accomplishment, because we spend so much time finding everything we're doing wrong. The world finds everything we're doing wrong. We need to remind our brain that we are doing what's right because our brain believes what we tell the brain to believe. All right, I threw a lot at you. Self-o is it. We will talk about self-o a lot on this show. So stay tuned for more. You all have a wonderful day.